This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, Mr. Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Monday, the 16th of September. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right, okay, let's have a look at EFs. Now, we had some divergence, which we lost, and then we've almost had some divergence, but we didn't quite retest this high, so we didn't actually get it. I am leaning towards seeing some retracement before we retest this high. I might be mistaken, but so far, since this retest of the low here, which didn't quite make it, this has been almost a straight line up. And we do have some negative divergence here, even if it's not on the 60-minute. On NQ, we've got a 60-minute sell signal, which is fixed and actually made its way quite a lot of the way to the target. So it's not necessarily going to get us much further. On RTY, 60-minute sell signal is fixing at the moment. YM, no current divergence because we haven't quite retested this high. But as I said, we've got some negative, quite a lot of negative divergence on the 15-minute charts. DAX has almost made the double bottom target. ESTX, no current negative divergence, but looks like these all look like little short-term topping actions here. They might not work out to be that, but we are really overdue, and you'll see how much on the 5-minute charts. Let's have a look at that. All right, this is the 5-minute chart on SPX, and at the moment, I don't really have a trend line at all because we've basically been going up and then rounding off as momentum has bled away. We're on a 5-minute sell signal, and we've actually been on a sell signal, a 5-minute sell signal for days. This is extremely unusual, and I would expect that to make the target today. On 15-minute RSI 14 sell signal is fixed. We had an RSI 5 one on Friday, and that's made target. Nothing on the 60-minute. In terms of the daily bands, obviously we have broken back up with force. Not close to the daily upper band at the moment, and to reach it, we would need to go over the all-time high at 566.997. New weekly pivot is at 55.56, and that would be a pretty good area to retest if we're going to see some retracement today. Right, NDX 15-minute. We've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed again. Nothing on the 60-minute, and on the daily chart, the new weekly pivot is at 19.180, and again would be a pretty good level to retest. Not least because it's backed up by the 50 MA, which is at 19.328. So I'm really liking the retest today, and we can see a back test of the daily middle band then as well. All right, looking at Dow. Dow on the 5-minute, I've actually got a halfway decent trend line there. Actually, that's broken down. We've got little head and shoulders here. This would be a really good time to see a retracement, and I think we may well see one. 15-minute chart, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed, so we've got that pretty much across the board. Although I'm not sure we've got one on IWM. Looking at the daily, at the hourly chart, no current negative divergence on the daily chart. We have reached the daily upper band, and we're very, very close to a retest of this high here at 41.6k, which is a retest of the all-time high. This is closer than I expected to get without a retracement. This would be a good time to see a retracement. If SPX particularly reaches the high retest here without doing a retracement, then it's going to weaken the case for any reversal near that. Because really, to reverse, you need some kind of a pattern generally. At least on SPX, you generally do. So we still have an open flag target up at a retest of 56.69 and 67. I'm still expecting to see that. But I would like to see a bit of a retracement first. All right, let's have a look at IWM. IWM on the 5-minute chart, not quite a straight line. This hasn't been as strong as Dow, for instance, but again, looks like it might be topping out short term. We've got the 5 5-minute RSI 14 sell signal has already reached the possible near miss target. We've got a weak RSI 14 sell signal fixed on the 15-minute chart, so we do have a 15-minute divergence there. Nothing on the 60-minute at the moment. Nothing definitive in terms of where this has got to. I'm very doubtful about seeing a retest of the all-time high unless we see a new high with a lot of confidence on Dow and SPX. On the daily chart, we're back over the daily middle band. This would be a good time to back test it. I've got that at 214.28 if we see that. And the weak RSI 5 buy signal that fixed at the low has now made target. All right, let's have a look at the DX chart. All right, DX is testing this rising support. This is possible flag support, and I would note that I've got a matching pattern on EURUSD where this is flag resistance rather than flag support, which I've got on DX. This is suggesting that we may be breaking up from this flag now. In which case we may be going to break straight up, and that is definitely an option on DX, coming back up and down and retesting this low. We will see how it goes. We had a little weak, we had a weak 60-minute buy signal here that has failed, and it's gone the other way. ZB, still waiting for a retest of the high, which I was leaning towards seeing to set up a pattern here. Still thinking we are probably going to retest it, but we do have a negative divergence pushing us in the other direction. CL, no current divergence, still on a daily RSI 5 buy signal. Let's have a quick look at that. Wait a second, bear with me a moment. All right, this is the RSI 5 buy signal. You can see it's still got a considerable way to go. So we may well see this rally extend. We will see. We could be forming an inverted head and shoulders here. Maybe. I'll mark it in later if it's not a bad one. If we break up from here, if we break up from over about 70.3 here, I'd be looking for a target in about the 75.3 area. That's a high level for a bounce, and obvious resistance is pretty close to that at the monthly pivot at 74.84. NG. NG, we had a little sell signal. It's made target. Didn't do any particular damage and just brought us back to a back test of the weekly pivot. This can most definitely still go higher. Even if we're forming a bear flag, if it was a bear flag channel, that would get us up into the 255 area. And as I said, on the bigger picture triangle, there's a pretty good argument for 2.9. GC, this is turning down. 60-minute sell signal is fixed on SI. 60-minute sell signal is fixed. Already made the double bottom target here. I'm leaning towards this retracing some more. We will see. I just want to test something. Have we reached this trend line? Not quite. Might need to go a little higher. If we retest that trend line, I would redraw the bottom trend line, and that might be an overall megaphone forming, although with the sizes being, it would be unlikely to be a bear flag. HG, nice move up over the monthly pivot, over the weekly pivot, no current negative divergence, maybe an overall bear flag forming. I'm watching that. All right, let's have a look at EURUSD. We've already covered. GBP USD kind of looks like flag 2, pretty close to breaking up as well. USD JPY. I need to actually have a very close look and work out whether this buy signal failed. It might have done. Certainly, if the dollar is going to go directly down from here, that's going to be inclined to push USD JPY down with it, and USD CAD. Which is showing a much more strength at the moment. Australian dollar looks like a flag that's broken up. NZUSD looks like a flag that hasn't quite broken up yet. All right, looking at KC. KC has reached the, hang on one second. KC has reached the retest of the high and continued. That was definitely an option, and that doesn't surprise me at all. Not seeing any obvious trendline resistance, no current negative divergence, may just continue. SB, no current divergence, still got a flag, it's still broken up. As long as it can hold the weekly pivot and monthly pivot as support, which it's doing at the moment, then I'm leaning towards seeing the retest this high, which is at about the 20.2 area. CC, possible little double top here, so I'm a little concerned we might see a reversal back down. If we don't, I'm looking for the retest this high here in about the 82.30 area. CT, continuation higher, 60 minutes sell signal is fixed and it's delivered very little so far. It certainly hasn't reached the possible near miss target. If it doesn't stop, then I'd be looking for the retest of this high here at about 71.3 area next, and very possibly a move back up towards this high here in about the 72.9 area. Looking at ZW, this is broken up from an inverted head and shoulders. I was talking about this last week. That's got a target in the 643 area if it reaches it. We could still reject back down, but the obvious setup to reject back down is declining in quality fairly rapidly. We've gone beyond it. Corn is rejecting back up into this high. I'm expecting to see that. The double top actually made target, but I think that is very much the obvious next target here. Soy looks like the head and shoulders is failing. Not sure it actually managed to get above this level though, which is the level at which the head and shoulders failed. I'm still expecting to see it reject back up into a retest of the high. Lumber, again, we had an inflection point here. It's leaning towards the downside now, which has a minimum target really at a retest of this low here at 473. Lean hogs, live cattle and lean hogs, I rolled both of these into the December contract over the weekend. I also rolled ES, NQ, RTY, and YM, and I rolled sugar into March. So on live cattle, this was a nice looking double bottom. It's less nice, but it's still a potential level bottom, and we're testing resistance on it. Sustained break up over about the 179 and change area would have a target in about the 185, 186 area. Looking at lean hogs, still looks like a flag forming. May see a test of the monthly pivot as that flag forms. All right, let's have a look at questions and do a quick review of ES. We do not have any questions at the moment. Okay, I'm really leaning towards seeing some retracement here. We haven't really seen any significant retracement since we made this low. And while obviously the market doesn't owe me patterns, normally I would get some. And to get a pattern, we got to have a retracement set up for a support trend line. We do have a halfway decent looking support trend line on Dow. That one's broken down. We've got 15-minute sell signals across the board on the RSI 14s. This would be a very logical time to see some retracement. Ideally, that lasted a day. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking at support here at weekly pivot at 56.18. I think that's a pretty good match with the daily middle band actually. So, or the 50 DMA I was looking at. So that would be a very good target to get back to. Ideally lasting into the end of the day, but even if we saw a sharp retracement and then reversed all of it in the same day, that would at least give me my trend lines. All right. Not much to say on the rest. 60-minute sell signal is obviously fixed on NQ, although it's fairly close to target. We've got another one on RTY, but that is further away from the target. But we've got a couple of early buy signals. We've got 15-minute sell signals across the board. I am liking some retracement or consolidation here. We'll see whether we get it. All right, great. All right, my pleasure as always. I'll have everything posted as soon as possible, and I'll catch you guys later.